Alright, good morning. It's Aaron Heiser, Maker's Leather Supply, and today we're going to do a real quick down and dirty on how to make a can koozie. Super simple. We make it easy for you. Alright, so what we have here is, I don't remember what it's called, but it looks like one of those Star Wars spaceships, right? We've got a template for it that I left over somewhere else. Hey guys, it's Aaron Heiser of Maker's Leather Supply, and in today's video we're going to learn how easy it is to make a can koozie. Okay, there it is right there, can koozie, maker's mark on the bottom, all cool. This particular one, I did the hand cut basket weave that we taught in another video through a border, that's a Berry King border stamp all the way around it, and I did lots of fancy dye work with my airbrush and everything to get all the multiple colors into it and everything. But I'm going to show you just the construction of the can koozie, okay? And it starts with this template right here. Okay, this is my my prototype one, so it doesn't have all our writing and our maker's mark and everything on it yet, but it does have these little lines right here. Okay, and those little lines are going to be our stitch lines once our koozie is cut out. All right, so I had a koozie cut out around here somewhere, but as I move the camera, I'll find it right quick. All right, so the first thing I did is I removed all that paper from the back of the template so I can see through it. Okay, now I've already cut this out just to save time on the video, but to cut it out, you can use a scalpel or a good trim knife or something like that. But what we do need to do is measure our stitch lines. Okay, so like I said, the stitch lines are marked on the template. They're a little bit difficult to see on camera. I apologize, but they're roughly 1/4 of an inch in from the edge. Okay, so I'm going to turn this template over. And on one side, I'll line that stitch line up with the edge of the leather. And I will take a scratch awl here. Line that up nice and right. And then I'm going to... Come on, buddy, get straight. There we go. And then I'm just going to draw a little line with my scratch awl there. Okay, and then I'll flip it around and do the exact same thing on the other side. There we go. So that part is done. I've got my my stitch lines marked. Now all I need to do is take my contact cement that someone stole from me, and she's bringing it back though. Thanks. Take my contact cement, and I'm just going to put it on the very edges of those square areas. Okay, so just like that. And I actually made this template to where you're going to trim it after you sew it. So it's okay if you accidentally get a little bit of glue on the edge, you know, this side of the leather, because we're going to trim that off before we burnish it, okay? Now, if you want to burnish all the other surfaces around the round bottom and the bottom sides and then the top edge, you go ahead and do that before you start gluing this thing together, okay? But then these seams on the very edge, after we're sewn, we'll trim them and then we'll burnish them. So I'm going to give this just 2 to 5 minutes or so to get ready so that we can stick it together, and then we'll be right back. And we're back. It's been about 2 minutes or so. That's plenty of time for this thing to set up, just enough for me to stick it together. I'm going to line up my edges there and stick them together. This koozie is made out of 6 to 7 ounce leather. This is Wickett Craig's, what's it called? Russet leather. It's one of my favorite to tool. That one that I showed you that was all tooled and basket weaved and stuff, it was made out of this same leather. And then also this one right here, which I just threw a stamp on, is made of the same leather too. So you can see how we're doing the construction. We're just sewing these sides together, and then you can push a can in it once it's together. But we're going to go over to the sewing machine next and stitch this sucker up right quick, and then I'll show you how to trim it, and then other than that, you'd do some edge work and it'd be done. We're halfway there. Alright, so here we have a Cobra Class 26 machine set up. Just about any sewing machine will do this, or hand sewing is always an option too. Okay, and all we're going to do is we're going to go and stitch those lines down just like we marked them. Okay, and I'm going to start out with a back stitch, do 2 or 3 stitches, and then I'll go forward. And this thing's set up to make pretty tiny stitches, so it's gonna be a second. Okay, back stitch at the bottom. We'll pull it off. And I don't have a pair of scissors here. Whoop, there's a pair. Cut that off. Flip it around, do it all over again. Okay, and I would change my stitch length, but since I already did one side like this, might as well just keep on messing it up, right? On something like this, I normally do 7, 8 stitches per inch. This is probably closer to 9, maybe even more. Okay, so we start out with the back stitch, and then we start running forward. All right, back to the bench. All right, back over here at the bench. Just gonna cut off all these loose threads here. There we go. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'll just use a ruler. I'm going to set it up there, and I'm going to cut that stitch line down, or where it comes off the stitch line. I'm going to trim it down to about 1/8 of an inch off the stitch line. Okay, and again, this is so that, you know, I'll have really nice edges when I go to do that final burnish on the edges. There we go. So it's going to cut it off about like that. Nice and close. There we go. Now, I'm going to switch over to this one right quick because I need to do all my burnishing and stuff on this one that I'm not going to bother doing on camera. But this one is complete. We're at the exact same point on it where I would take a can and put in it, but I don't have a can. This one's wet, so it's kind of stuck in here. You got a beer can on you? Hang on, I'm going to grab a can. All right, so here we have a really wet or hot Lone Star beer, but it's also wet somehow as if there was condensation that were cold. I don't understand that, but anyway. So real simple, it goes in there, okay? And it's gonna be kind of tight for the first few uses, all right? The good news is if the can is tight while it's closed, once it's open, it's nothing to just pull it right out, okay? If you're just forming it and you don't want to drink whatever drink you have in it, then you just give it a little twist as you're pulling it out and it'll come right out. Like this Dr. Pepper that wouldn't remove a while ago. It does remove, we just have to give it a little twist and pull. Okay, but after 2 or 3 uses, this thing will loosen up and be really nice. I like to make them a little bit tighter just because they form better to the can. You want a nice little crease right there in your stitch line. And it just looks a little bit more professional than just this big old loose, weird looking thingy-majig. So, that's all there is to that. Alright, so, again, I'm Aaron Heiser, Maker's Leather Supply. This has been one of the shortest construction videos I have ever made on the Real Quick Can Koozie. Okay, the template is on our website, as well as we can do cutouts. I think we're going to do a pack of 5 cutouts, I think. If you want to buy them already cut out, the leather. So, you know, because some people just don't like cutting out their own stuff, or they don't have the room to unroll a bunch of leather and stuff like that. I get it. Anyway, till next time, Aaron Heiser, Maker's Leather Supply. Have a great day.